Hello. So, in the previous video, I mentioned that I wanted to do a nostalgia trip vid involving MatPat. I guess as a way of celebrating his air quote retirement. So I chose this FNaF. Everything you need to know, but it's not from the Game Theory channel. It's from FootofaFerret, featuring MatPat. And I chose this because, well, it's actually my favorite MatPat vid. And it's not even from the Game Theory channel or any theory channel. If anyone's wondering why I never reacted to any of his theories, well, let's just say I have some complicated feelings about the guy and his work. Between Reddit exposing his flaws, the flaws in his theories, and my own personal beliefs, yeah, I thought I'd stay away from reacting to his stuff, but that's not what this is about. We're here to look back and have fun. This video was uploaded before Security Breach, so the lore is outdated, but hey, it's still my favorite, so let's go. I'll leave a link to the original video in the description. Without further ado, let's go. Mr. Theorist.
Ryder, do you know why
FNaF.
I called you here?
Oh my god.
No, MatPat of the YouTube channels Game Theory, Film Theory, Food Theory, and GT Live, I do not know why you called me here.
Well, maybe this will jog your memory.
Aw, look at this cute little plushie of a rusty metal animatronic haunted by the soul of a child whose head was bitten by a robot in 1987. Happy birthday, Tommy! Nice.
Now what do you have to say for yourself?
My videos are funny.
Mr. of a Ferret, this is without a doubt one of the most shameful displays of Five Nights at Freddy's.
My favorite
lore
Foot of a
dumping
Ferret
I've
video
ever
is
seen.
his
Actually,
Animal
amazing
Crossing
how
compilation.
Almost every single thing you said was wrong. I thought we had taught you better back on the Theorist channels. You even worked on multiple FNaF videos during your time working with us, but clearly you were too busy frolicking around making videos about Bubsy and King's Quest to pay any sort of attention.
Dude, I was just the history guy and the editor. I wasn't doing any of the lore research. Back then, you still thought Purple Guy was the phone guy. But
embarrassing.
whatever, I get it. Can I go now?
No,
He thought his
not
hand
until you
or
learn the
wrench
proper
looked like a
FNaF lore,
phone.
Sir. Now, if you'll see here on this 92-slide PowerPoint presentation that I've made on exactly this subject, first off, this is not the bite of '87. Rather, the image you chose depicts the bite of 1983. And the
Was
child
that
in
the bite
question
of
is actually
83?
the crying child, aka the younger brother of Michael Afton. Now, Michael Afton is very important.
Help
You play
me.
as him.
Hello, Internet.
Help all of
Welcome
us.
to my channel, FootofaFerret, where, yes, a few months back, I made a video about FNaF where I got a lot of the lore wrong. And yeah, I knew it was all sorts of wrong. It was a quick throwaway gag, and I wasn't about to do hours and hours of research and fact-checking just to get to the punchline. Nice. But even so, I want to make things up to any of the FNaF lore buffs whose heads may have
Confessions of a FNaF
exploded
fan.
at the amount of inaccuracies I managed to squeeze into 15 seconds. So I decided to call in some help from the resident FNaF expert of the whole internet, MatPat from Game Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to...
Yeah, I already did that bit.
Oh, well, anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's is a long series spanning more games, books, and mysteries than you can shake a stick at. So our goal is to present you guys a
So
complete
many
recap of
damn
the entire
books.
core FNaF storyline, or at least as much as we can without delving into too many unconfirmed theories or things that could suddenly be totally rewritten by a new book, or a new game, or new movie, or decorative birthday party napkin with hidden text that only appears after you wipe your mouth 5 times. And FNaF is infamously frustrating when it comes to deciphering its lore, but I think once you boil it all down, the story might not be as complicated as you think. It's weird,
I
don't get me
mean,
wrong, but we're not talking about Kingdom Hearts
Yeah, it's
here.
complicated, but
First,
not
I
that
gotta
complicated.
say, if you like
It's a
this
story about
video
two
and
families.
you want to see more, be
The
sure to hit
Aftons
the
and the
big red
Emilys.
subscribe button right below this video, and
Now, the
ring
Security
little
Breach
gray bell
era,
next to
that's
it.
mega
That makes sure
complicated.
you get notified every time I upload in the future. It's a big help for my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, there's plenty of really cool FootofaFerret merch for sale at the link in the description or in this little banner right below this video. But yeah, enough of that. So get comfortable. We're gonna be here for a while. This is
everything you need to know about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Rude
right,
cutting
it's
in.
the 70s. Ain't this just a time?
Ayo.
Well, it certainly was for these two guys named William Afton and Henry Emily. These guys are a couple
Henry's
of
portrayed
inventors
as the gray
specializing in
guy.
building robots and animatronics.
Desk man.
They're also family men. William has a wife, a daughter, and 2 sons, while Henry has a daughter named Charlotte. So
Just for the record, I don't think Deskman is Henry. I think it's just a representation of Scott Cawthon, but you know what? Go crazy.
We got two groovy 70s dudes building robots to support their families. But there's just one little snag. William Afton is
He's a crazy person.
I'm not really sure why.
Understatement
but
of
William
the
Afton
effing
has this
century.
insatiable desire to kill children. But I'm sure that won't be a problem anytime soon.
Surely not.
So instead, let's focus on this new restaurant in town that just opened, Fredbear's Family Diner. A small, locally owned family restaurant that commissions William and Henry to create some fun, Chuck E. Cheese-style animatronic mascots to entertain the kids. There's a golden bear named Fredbear and a golden rabbit named Bonnie. Now, these are what are called spring-lock animatronics, meaning they operate using, well, spring-lock mechanisms, which are extremely dangerous. Boy, it sure
Why
is a
did
good
William
thing
and
these are
Henry
just
think these
robots and not
were a good
mascot costumes or
idea?
something. Hey, guess what? These are also
Just get some
mascot
hands-on
costumes
suits.
meant to be worn by the employees of the restaurant. Yeah. Come work at Fredbear's Diner. Sing songs. Entertain families. Try not to breathe too much inside of the Springlock animatronic suits because even the slightest bit of moisture will cause the Springlock mechanisms to malfunction and clamp down on you, killing you outright. Cook pizza.
So
R.I.P.
despite this gigantic safety hazard, Fredbear's becomes a pretty popular spot for birthday parties, attracting some real good business.
Nice.
But things start going downhill real fast. So one night, Fredbear's is hosting a birthday party, and one of the kids attending is Henry Emily's daughter, Charlotte. But during the party, Charlotte accidentally gets locked outside in this dark alley behind the restaurant.
Okay, so yeah, well, this was before the Ultimate Timeline, so at the time, MatPat was, I guess, on the train of Charlotte died first. Because there was Henry's line in FNaF 6, a wound first inflicted on me. And, like, there are two ways to look at it. Number one, like, of all the Fazbear-related tragedies, the wound was indeed first inflicted on Henry. Or, the other way to look at it is, when you say inflicted, as in it's done to you by William. So, the crying child could have died first, and then in retaliation, because the Springlock suit belonged to Henry, William killed Charlotte. So there are two ways to read the Henry's line, but you know what? I'm not going to get into that.
Suddenly, a mysterious purple car drives up and out steps William Afton, who kills Charlotte outside of Fredbear's Diner and gets away scot-free.
Sick man.
William Afton, also known in the FNaF series
And that's
as
being
the
generous.
Purple Guy, has claimed his first victim. Henry Emily has lost his daughter, leading him to just kinda disappear for a while. And Fredbear's has its first of many deaths tied to its name. Besides being a horrible, sad, terrible tragedy, it's also a PR nightmare. And the owners of Fredbear's were just like, nope, we're out, and they bailed, took the money and ran, sold off the Fredbear
Where did
franchise
this part of
to
the lore
owners
come
who
from?
pulled the
I don't
flip
get
job
it.
of the century to create Fazbear Entertainment. Not only did they get Fredbear's back on its feet, but by 1983 they've turned the franchise into a bit of a multimedia empire with a TV show, action figures, plushies, and most importantly of all, a new sister location, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Yay!
See, this newly revamped Fazbear franchise introduced a slew of new characters to the lineup. The TV show was named Fredbear and Friends, after all, so they added a chicken named Chica, a pirate fox named Foxy, and a non-golden bunny and bear named Bonnie, and of course, Freddy Fazbear. Y'all know these guys, right? Remember back in 2014 when FNaF was just these guys? Feels like decades. But yeah,
Well,
Freddy,
I came
Bonnie,
to the
Chica, and Foxy
fandom
become
in
the faces of the new
2019.
hit restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and things seem to be back on the up and up for Fazbear Entertainment, which of course means one thing: somebody's about to die.
While Freddy's is up and running, Fredbear's has gotten back to business as usual. Seems to be doing fine for itself since, that one time a kid died. Enter William Afton's youngest son, the crying child. Why is he crying? Well,
Or
it's implied
Cece,
that he has a
or
pretty
Evan,
intense
or
fear of the
Norman.
animatronics his dad makes. And his older brother, Michael Afton, really likes to torment the kid by dressing up as
Worst
Foxy to
brother
jump scare him.
ever.
The kid really just can't catch a break, man. He's clearly terrified of the animatronics, but is basically forced to be around them. Which leads us to one fateful day in 1983 where the crying child is celebrating his birthday at Fredbear's Family Diner.
Father of the Year. I mean, who else would set up this party other than William? Why? To save money on a birthday party? I mean, I mean, a lot of us assume William doesn't really care about his kids, so I guess he couldn't be bothered about his son's mental welfare
He's not having a
and
great
emotional
time, and his older
welfare.
brother decides to be a little cruel to the kid. He and his friends all crowd around the crying child wearing character masks, lift him up, and bring him to the main stage where Fredbear's performing. The crying child starts, well, crying
You
and...
Language!
The crying child starts, well, crying and freaking out. The other kids then do what dumb kids do and take things way too far, putting the crying child inside Fredbear's mouth. Matt, I know you're the numbers guy, but I'm gonna take this one. Let's do the math here. One Springlock animatronic suit with a very low tolerance for moisture, plus one horrified child crying rivers of tears equals...
Was that the bite of 87?
No 2015 Markiplier, that was what's known as the bite of 83.
So, another thing to point out, in the Ultimate Timeline, Matt said that the Springlocks were, or like the suits, working parts or something, were triggered by the boy's movements. Like the bite was caused by the flailing and the shaking of the mouth parts. Now, why did he change his mind from the tears caused it? Well, apparently that's a bit of a contention. The suit wasn't in... Fredbear wasn't in suit mode, he was in animatronic mode, so there were no spring locks to set off. So I guess to avoid angering people, in the Ultimate Timeline, MatPat just said that the bite was caused by flailing, by the crying child's flailing. Because if he said they were caused by tears, then, well, that debate on suit mode versus animatronic mode will pop up again.
William Afton's youngest son is munched by a Golden Freddy animatronic and dies. Ooh, it's a birthday party. Can I say that? I don't know if I can say that.
Nope.
In the wake of this,
Insensitive joke.
decides the Springlock animatronic
Fictional
suits
character
are
or
just
not.
too dangerous to keep using. No, what gave you that idea? So our good friends Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie are retired from Fredbear's Diner and sent off to the new restaurant Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to be stored in their safe room. And then in walks William Afton. Now, you'd think after William Afton lost one of his kids to an animatronic he created, he would take a step back, reevaluate himself and what he's doing, and change his ways. But nah. If anything, the death of his own kid was a source of inspiration. So William goes to
That's an assumption. But yeah, this is like, who dies first? That's why this is such a contentious topic. Because people want to know, William, why did you do the things that you do? If Crying Child died first, then William has the motive of grief. But if Charlotte died first, then he was just always crazy. I mean, I'm willing to believe that, but you know, that's just not satisfying for some people. Hell, I mean, in the Ultimate Timeline, MatPat changed his tune and decided that the Crying Child died first, and that drove William to madness.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and is just like, hey guys, why don't we all just not go into the safe room? You know, the safe room housing the dangerous child-killing animatronics I made? Yeah, in fact, why don't we just forget the safe rooms even exist, you know? We don't need security cameras in there, no. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and reprogram all the animatronics to not even recognize the safe room at all. Nothing suspicious.
That's a dizzying sight for my eyes.
And everyone just goes along with it. I'm sure that won't lead to anything horrible.
So a few years later, around 1985, something horrible happens. 5 kids mysteriously go missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and the animatronics start oozing and smelling real rank. Turns out
you can
William
say they
Afton's
smelled
been
like
lurking around
death,
the pizzeria, using the decommissioned Spring Bonnie suit to lure kids into the safe room, kill them, and then hide their bodies inside the animatronic suits. Okay, why?
Okay, on that topic, like, who stuffed the bodies in the suits? William or the puppet? Because apparently there was an interpretation of the Get Gets Give Life minigame where the puppet was the one stuffing the bodies in the suits to give them life. And as for the belief that William did it, I mean, in the Silver Eyes trilogy and in the movie, William did the stuffing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that proves it in the game timeline, but the fact that it happened twice in separate continuities, I might be leaning more towards William stuffed the kids in the suits.
Where's the logic here? I get that you're kinda messed up, Mr. Afton, but what on earth are you hoping to accomplish by stuffing your victims into animatronics that are around dozens of people every single day? Naturally, this sparks
Not
an
the smartest
investigation
idea
that
in
eventually leads to
hindsight.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shutting down. So let's take a break from the robot bunnies and talk about something that's a little less scary: clowns.
You are one scary mother trucker. But yeah, what happened to the bodies? Did Fazbear Entertainment find them eventually and just decided not to tell anyone?
Yeah, really. See, while William Afton was going around killing kids, he still found time to develop some animatronics here and there. And when he wasn't building terrifying robot animals, he was building terrifying robot people. All of them had this creepy circus theme, like this ballerina named Ballora, this balloon boy named Balloon Boy.
Did he come from Circus Babies? I mean, I would say no, but then again, there was those little little animatronics or little puppets in the circus gallery that looked like Balloon Boy. So you be the judge.
And most importantly, this little girl named Circus Baby. Afton also redesigned some of the old Fazbear crew to fit the circus vibes as well. All that, and he still finds time for his hobbies. How does he do it? These are
He's
the
a busy
fun-time
man,
animatronics. Bright, shiny, happy.
A
they seem
negligent
harmless,
father.
right? Well, underneath the clown makeup were some interesting design choices. See, at this point, Afton has seen how effective his animatronics can be when it comes to helping commit his crimes, so he designed the Funtime crew with some advanced features that, to be frank, pretty sus, as if they're specifically designed to lure and kill children. I wonder what will happen.
Now, the details get a little fuzzy here, especially in terms of the timeline.
Speaking of the timeline, so in in this video back from when did Security Breach come out, 2021, this puts Circus Babies opening in somewhere around 1985, 1986, after the first Freddy shutdown, but before FNaF 2 opened. And in the Ultimate timeline, MatPat put Circus Babies opening after FNaF 2. I mean, look, when it comes to the 80s and 90s of the timeline, we have a solid picture of what it looks like, but sister location's placement in the timeline, yeesh. I mean, honestly, even I don't think I have a definitive answer for it, though. And I'm no theorist.
But from what I can tell, the plan was to have these animatronics available to rent out for birthday parties and events, housing them in this crazy underground storage facility. In addition, some of these animatronics were set to become the face of yet another Fazbear sister location, Circus Babies Pizza World.
Now that's I'm confused by that. Like, wasn't the entertainment and rentals thing after Babies shut down?
Set to swoop in and fill the hole in the market left when Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shut down. But that plan kinda fell through due to an accident involving William Afton's daughter. Because, surprise, when you make animatronics specifically designed to lure and kill kids while also having multiple kids of your own, those two things might just happen.
That is quite an
overlap
oversight,
once.
Mr. Afton.
Or twice. So, right as Circus Baby's Pizza World is set to open,
First
Afton's
the bite of
daughter gets
83,
just a little too
and
close to
now,
Circus Baby and is attacked by a
the scoop
claw
of
that was
85,
programmed to shoot out
or
from her
whenever it
torso.
was.
This kills Afton's daughter and
The
leads
scoop
to
of 80
Circus
something.
Baby's Pizza World closing for good on its opening day. The Funtime animatronics are then packed up and sent back into storage, but they still move forward with the whole rental service thing, creating Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental, meaning these guys are still ready and waiting to be rented out for your next birthday party.
No thanks.
But hey, guess what? It's 1987 now.
Hey,
That's
yo!
a great year. I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong in 1987.
Freddy
Damn it.
Fazbear's Pizza
Yeah,
2.
even with a handful of child murders under their belt, Fazbear Entertainment decided it was time to reboot their franchise after only 4 years, opening the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that we see in FNaF 2. The restaurant is bigger, there's new animatronics, and there are all sorts of extra security measures put in place after what happened at the last place. For instance, there's the new toy animatronics all based on a series of Fazbear action figures. Yes, they're shiny. Yes, they're somehow cuter and creepier at the same time, but most importantly, the toy animatronics are packing some super advanced for the 80s facial recognition technology.
So, that line, the toy animatronics based on Fazbear action figures, that makes me think of, why was the tiny toy Chica missing her beak back in FNaF 4? I mean, I would assume that just simply meant that the little toys from FNaF 4 inspired the toy animatronics, including the detachable beak. I mean, why does Toy Chica do look like how she does when she's on the hunt?
Scanning for potential predators. However, that doesn't stop William Afton from going for round 2.
And about that facial recognition technology, now, according to the newspapers in FNaF 1, someone was supposedly arrested for the MCI, but then they were let go because the bodies were never found, lack of evidence. If it was William who was arrested and then let go, but I guess he was still arrested, so I guess he would still be in the criminal database. So by putting on the Spring Bonnie suit, he's hiding his face. A sick man, but a smart man, more or less.
Using the same exact Spring Bonnie suit to lure and kill kids at the pizzeria. But this time, things are a little different. Afton commits his second series of murders, sparking yet another investigation of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, so the restaurant is just about to close down, but first, they got one last
He didn't even
birthday
hide the
party to
bodies this
host,
time.
which is a little worrying
Why?
because the animatronics are going a bit funky.
Now, there's one pretty big detail about the FNaF lore we've not mentioned yet, and it's kind of the whole point of the story. There's a pretty hard and fast rule in the FNaF world. If you are a kid killed by William Afton or any of his creations, your soul will undoubtedly go on to possess one of the animatronics. See, it all started with Charlotte, Afton's first victim. When she was killed outside of Fredbear's family diner, her soul found a new home in the diner's security animatronic, this weird creepy puppet. Or at least that's how it looks to be conveyed in the games. Like we've said, the series is kind of frustratingly vague when it comes to their lore, but that is what it looks like. And from that point on, the puppet was working behind the scenes.
I guess the tears are because
following
of
William
possession.
Afton around to pick up the pieces he left behind and do
weird,
what they could
but
to
okay.
set things right. I'm about to sound a lot like Matt here. As we see in one of FNaF 2's Atari-style minigames, the puppet gives the souls of Afton's victims new life inside of the animatronic suits. So our buddies Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, yeah, they're haunted. Way haunted. But wait, that's only 4 animatronics. Didn't Purple Guy kill 5 kids during the missing children's incident? Well, this is where things get a little funky again, because now we're dealing with Golden Freddy's spirit. Or should I say, spirits. Remember the bite of 1983 where the crying child got chomped by the Golden Freddy animatronic? Well, his soul is now inside of Golden Freddy.
Okay, this Golden both, yeah, I guess, even back during FNaF 4, it made sense to think that the crying child is Golden Freddy. I guess my personal issue with that is the crying child did not die right away after the bite. He was taken to the hospital because in the FNaF 4 gameplay there was glimpses of hospital equipment or something. So the crying child was taken to the hospital. He wasn't dead yet, but he died in the hospital as told by the flatlining sound at the end of whatever night. But I guess with the introduction of Remnant Agony and stuff, you can say that I guess some part of him would have haunted the suit even if he didn't die. I don't know. It's complicated. Again, it makes sense. Crying Child equals Golden Freddy, but he didn't die at Fredbear's. He died at the hospital far away from the animatronic.
Which, yeah, makes sense. But going back to that FNaF 2 minigame depicting the missing children's incident, in the very last split second, we see a 5th kid followed by a Golden Freddy jump scare. This is Cassidy, the 5th victim of the 1985 missing children's incident and the 2nd spirit haunting the Golden Freddy animatronic. And let me tell you, Cassidy is mad at William Afton. She is out for revenge. Keep a pin in this, it's important.
All this is
haunted robots, dead kids, Cassidy is mad. She's here and always watching, the one you shouldn't have killed.
To say that the FNaF 2 toy animatronics are now most likely haunted by the souls of Afton's most recent victims.
Yeah, I guess this is a simplified version of the lore, so I guess he would have just said that, but, a pretty popular belief is that the toys are not possessed. Now, Ritos did bring up something interesting. So, wasn't there this FNaF teaser that said something borrowed, something new, or something borrowed, something like that? Essentially, didn't Phone Guy say that the withered animatronics were used for spare parts, and those parts were used for the toys? So Ritos proposed the idea that because toy animatronics have parts from the Wizards which were haunted by the MCI kids, that the toys are haunted, but not by the second set of murders. Ritos proposed that the toys are haunted by the first kid. It's just that their souls are split because of, well, you take like a part from the Wizard and transfer it to a toy. If that makes any sense. What do you guys think? I mean, I like it, but what do you think?
You can tell because these guys start acting way more aggressive and confrontational towards adults. They're chill around kids, but if you're a grown-up, they'll start giving you the death glare. And they're not programmed to do that. So I'ma say, haunted.
Yeah, Phone Guy said that.
Against William Afton. But
Good
on the
with
day
kids,
of that last
not so much
party,
with
they
adults.
get a tad overexcited and attack the daytime security guard, giving them a nice hard chomp on the noggin and removing their entire frontal lobe in what became infamously known as the Bite of 87.
Happy birthday, Tommy!
Was that the Bite of 87?
Needless to say, this gets the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza closed for good.
So, my favorite theory regarding the Bite of 87 is Mangle did it, and the victim was the FNaF 2 night guard, Jeremy Fitzgerald, because Phone Guy said to stay close to the animatronics, which would put him in prime position to get bitten. But, nothing's confirmed though. The Bite of 87 has no cutscene, we're just left to speculate.
Alright, so let's tally things up. By 1987, Fazbear Entertainment has around a dozen dead kids to their name. That's almost one dead kid for every year they've existed.
Okay, 5 plus 10 plus Coinchild plus Charlotte plus Elizabeth, that's 13. What's a baker's dozen again?
Closed for good. Alright, so let's tally things up. By 1987, Fazbear Entertainment has around a dozen dead kids to their name. That's almost one dead kid for every year they've existed. You really think by now they'd decide to call it a day. But nope! These guys decided to give it one more go in 1993. They went back to that first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, brought back the original crew, and relaunched the pizzeria feeling just
Freddy Fazbear's
so
Pizza
sure
3.
about it this time.
FNaF 1,
but
technically.
Surprise, people kinda sorta associate the Fazbear name with dead kids now, so no one comes to this new restaurant and it eventually shuts down.
Yay!
One night, a while after the restaurant closes down and falls into disrepair, William Afton sneaks in and starts dismantling the animatronics one by one. Little does he know that those robots got ghosts in them. The souls of his victims are released and they chase Afton down. They corner him in the back room of the pizzeria and Afton starts to panic. But then, I don't really know why he would do this, but he runs over to the Spring Bonnie animatronic suit, the suit he's committed all these murders in, and hops inside.
Well, I mean, again, there are two ways to look at this. Number one, he was so damn scared he wasn't thinking straight, and the suit was like a comfort suit, comfort blanket or something. And then the other interpretation is the suit makes him feel powerful. So by putting it on, I guess that's still a comfort blanket, but whatever.
Not sure what that's gonna do against ghosts, but he seems to think it's a smart move. Remember though that these old Springlock suits are super sensitive to moisture. That's what killed the crying child back in '83.
Well, again, it wasn't in suit mode, it was in animatronic mode. There were no spring locks to set off, but then again, MatPat changed his tune in the Ultimate Timeline.
Like I said, the pizzeria's been abandoned for a while now. It's pretty run down. And it's raining. So Afton piles into his murder suit, just kind of stands there for a few seconds, and chop! Spring locks fail, blood goes everywhere, and William Afton, stuck inside the spring bodysuit,
agonizing
falls to the ground
death.
and dies. Fazbear Entertainment attempts to save face from the now baker's dozen of dead people attached to its name by completely walling off the back room, leaving Afton's body inside and just forgetting about it. We see all this go down during a minigame in FNaF 3. Also in that game, if you get the good ending, you get to see the puppet bring cake to a table of children. 4 of them in FNaF masks, and 1 of them crying. The puppet gives the kid cake, they stop crying, they put on a Golden Freddy mask, and then they all disappear, leaving the masks behind.
So the 5th kid, the one in the Golden Freddy mask, there's a belief that it's not Cassidy, it's the crying child. Is that the seamless? Is that the retcon? In FNaF 3, it was supposed to be Cassidy, but then in FNaF 4, it changed to the crying child. But then again, the retcon, Scott's mysterious retcon, is supposed to be seamless, and is this a seamless retcon?
The puppet has set the souls free.
Now, you might have noticed that all this stuff we're talking about has next to nothing to do with what you actually do in these games. Sure, you see some of this stuff play out in minigames, but those are side things that are often hidden. If you play these games casually, you may never see a good chunk of these plot-driven minigames. So how does a purple dude killing kids lead to you as the player
Purple
spending
guy
5 nights at various robot-infested buildings, checking cameras and avoiding death by robot chicken? Well, that is where William's older son, Michael Afton, comes back into the picture. While all of that was going on, Michael, now an adult, takes it upon himself to try and make up for his dad's crimes. At first, he was just trying to find his sister, which is a little weird considering the whole, being dead thing.
Making up for his dad's crimes. I mean, he does feel very bad about what he did to his little brother. Sure, we don't have a definitive description of Michael's characterization, but I guess that's a nice thought. By trying to make up for his dad's crimes, he's also making up for what he did to his brother.
But remember the FNaF rule. All kids killed by Afton or his robots go on to possess an animatronic. And the soul of Michael's sister is now living in the very same animatronic that killed her, Circus Baby. And it seems like William Afton knows this because one day, William, the messed up individual he is, went to his son and was like, "Oh, your sister. Yeah, she's over there. Go check it out."
So what was the whole deal with that, Like, there are definitely some conspiracy theories about why Michael even took this job. Me personally, I just simply interpret it as, okay, he's just doing daddy's orders. He got him a job, no questions asked, and then things went terrible.
So Michael takes a job at Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals.
Or did William send him there to die as payback for the bite of 83? Or he just really needed help and his son was the cheapest option?
As we see in the game's sister location. In between avoiding death by face-splitting animatronic, Michael discovers the whole "my dad killed a bunch of kids and their souls are trapped inside these animatronic suits" thing, and decides he has to do something about it.
Unfortunately, while working the night shift at the storage facility, Michael gets himself scooped, meaning the dude gets his insides ripped out of him by a machine meant to remove animatronic endoskeletons. And
if you want a clear picture of what being scooped is like, there's this animation by a channel called Domino Animations. They have a sister location animation. Go check it out if you haven't.
Then this giant robot named Ennard, created by all the Funtime animatronics literally stitching parts of themselves together, jumps inside of Mike to use his body as a host. So Michael is now
A
dead.
skin suit.
Kinda. He's like partially dead. He just kinda moves on with his life for a while. Robo bits jangling around inside his skin sack as his body slowly rots and turns purple.
Oh, now he looks like dear old dad.
Mike gets progressively worse until one day Ennard's just like, yeah, this place was cool at first, but kinda sucks now, and ejects himself from Michael's body. And Michael is pretty okay with it, actually. Yeah, somehow he is still alive.
Okay, so like this video was most supposed to be a simplified version of the lore, but like one can say it's a little too oversimplified. So like, how did Michael survive getting scooped? Remnant. And what's remnant? I don't know anymore. Like, I was under the assumption it was a material made from melting down haunted metal, and the scooper was a remnant injector. So when Michael got scooped, his body was also injected with remnant. And again, I don't know how that stuff works. All I can assume is that because of the remnant in his body, his soul was anchored to his body because of the remnant, and allowing him to repossess his body to repossess his rotten body after Ennard left. Yeah, I don't know. That was my assumption.
Not much else to do, but you know, keep doing what he was doing before, I guess.
Michael starts applying for gigs at all the various Fazbear locations that popped up over the years, with the goal of setting the souls inside the animatronics free. He lands nighttime security jobs at both the bigger 1987 pizzeria as well as the 1993 pizzeria, but is fired from both for tampering with the animatronics to, you know, save the souls of dead children, and for a general foul odor, because he is in fact a walking corpse.
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack from that. So yeah, again, when does Sister Location take place? The gameplay Sister Location, Michael working at Sister Location. Well, in this video from 2021, MatPat assumed prior to FNaF 2. Like, why do people think Fritz Smith is the same person as Mike Schmidt, aka Michael Afton? Because of the pink slip and why they were fired. Odor. Now there's the question though. Is the odor referring to because he's a walking corpse? Or was that just a joke? Like, yes, it's meant to tie Fritz Smith to Mike Schmidt, but it doesn't really mean that he's scooped by that time because I don't know. Like, when did Mike work at Sister Location? Before FNaF 2, after FNaF 2, or heck, after FNaF 1? Without any evidence whatsoever, I like the idea that Sister Location took place after FNaF 1, but again, that calls into question if Michael Afton is the same person as Fritz Smith and Mike Schmidt. Why was he working there? What motivation would he have? Like one of the reasons why SL taking place before FNaF 2 is compelling is because Michael's reason for going to these Fazbear locations is to, find his father, who I guess is on the run or in hiding. If SL took place after FNaF 1, then Michael has no motivation to stay 5 nights in FNaF 1, so moving on.
And all this comes to a head in FNaF 3 several years after the final closing of Freddy
2023.
Fazbear's Pizza. The whole Fazbear
allegedly
name is destroyed, no doubt. But over the years, it became some kind of urban legend. So some random company decides to capitalize on this, creating a haunted house-style horror attraction
You've doomed
called
us
Fazbear
all.
Frights. The place is all decked out in Freddy Fazbear memorabilia, spooky atmosphere, everything's pee-pee yellow. They went the whole 9 yards with this place, including finding a real Fazbear animatronic salvaged from the walled-off back room of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Yep, William Afton is back, baby! Undead, rotting, haunting his Spring Bonnie suit, and stalking around Fazbear Frights as the monstrosity we all know as Springtrap. I guess living after death as a rotting purple corpse creature runs in the Afton family, but only after a certain age. Sorry, kids.
So William Afton has been unleashed back unto the world. This could be very bad. Luckily, FootofaFerret has a nighttime security guard. That's right, it's a family reunion. Father and son back together after all these years. Except now they're both technically dead, and the son sets the dad on fire.
Yeah!
At the end of FNaF 3,
Laggle.
FootofaFerret burns down with Springtrap still inside, which has to have been Michael trying to finally finish off his dad. But unfortunately for Mike, William Afton
Always comes back.
he tried his best, but somehow, Springtrap is still out there.
But then, totally out of left field, Henry Emily comes back with a plan. After doing literally nothing this entire time, Henry jumps back into the fray by starting his own pizzeria with Michael working as an employee.
So yeah, look, looking at in real life, Henry wasn't planned to be part of the lore until FNaF 6. So the question of where's he been this whole time? My best explanation is that the creation of FootofaFerret forced him out of the shadows or whatever normal life he was living and looked into pretty much everything. Hence why he has all those blueprints in FNaF 6.
We see all this happen in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. But beyond all the arcade games and googly eyes, Henry's Pizzeria is actually just a front to gather up the last few haunted animatronics and set their souls to rest. And weirdly enough, the animatronics have changed over the years. Circus Baby was apparently kicked out of the Ennard crew, now taking the form of Scrap Baby. What's left of Ennard has now taken the form of Molten Freddy. The puppet's still kicking around as this bear called Lefty.
Correction, the puppet's still kicking around in this bear called Lefty. In. Because it was made to encapsulate the puppet.
And of course, there's Springtrap. Not much different about it, it's just Springtrap.
Yeah, it's
Once
just
the
Springtrap.
gang's all together, they're all incinerated, including Michael, and we hear the voice of Henry saying his final goodbye to the lost souls, his daughter, and his old business partner. But hey, would you look at that? William Afton is still alive! Okay, how the heck does this dude
God
keep
damn
cheating
it,
death?
Well, that's all thanks to Cassidy, the vengeful spirit haunting Golden Freddy alongside the crying child. She's been out for revenge ever since the 1985 missing children's incident. And when I say revenge, I mean she wants to make him suffer. Just killing him off isn't enough. And at this point, William Afton should be dead several times over. Dude got impaled from all angles and burned to death twice. So, physically, he's not really that much of a threat anymore, but Cassidy keeps him alive to
The man in
torture
room
him, forcing him
1280.
to live through a never-ending barrage of animatronic horror in his mind as we see in FNaF Custom Night. But that's just half the story, because now there's two William Aftons.
Oh my god, okay. Follow me on this. Many years after all the tragedies of the Fazbear franchise occur, Scott Cawthon, some random unnamed video game developer who is not Scott Cawthon, the real-world
Yep,
creator of
it just
Five Nights
looks
at
like
Freddy's,
Scott,
started making a bunch
but
of
it's
horror
not
games
Scott,
based on the stories of the Fazbear tragedies. Yep, FNaF is officially going full meta on us now. Not Cawthon's games become really popular, and Fazbear Entertainment
Not
is getting
Cawthon.
pretty ticked at the bad name the games are giving their company. As if they weren't already giving themselves a bad name. So they decide to fight fire with fire, no pun intended, creating their own VR horror game as a way of poking fun at themselves, discrediting Not Cawthon, saving a bit of face, and cashing in on their own messed up past while they're at it. But
Okay, I don't know if this was yet another oversight or if they missed it or forgot about it, but if I recall correctly, in Take Girl's tapes, Fazbear Entertainment hired the indie dev to make the FNaF games and then pretended not to be associated with him, made their own VR game, and sued the indie dev. Which, dirty move there, Fazbear Entertainment, but whatever. Yeah, I wonder why that wasn't mentioned in this video.
as it turns out, while making the game, the dev team used a few pieces of code found on some old Fazbear Entertainment hard drives. And in that code, somehow, was a digital replication of William Afton's consciousness. Yeah, we're going there.
So, concerning the current state of the lore, oh boy. did Steel Wool intend to bring back William Afton's actual spirit, or was it the mimic plan the whole time? Because I saw this one video that really made the assumption that because people were so upset with Burntrap's appearance in Security Breach, that the mimic was an apology. Like, the assumption is that because of the Burntrap backlash, Steel Wool was like, oh, people are mad that we're bringing back the actual William Afton. Well, here's the mimic. It's not really William Afton, it's just mimicking William Afton. Are you guys happy now? Well, apparently, a lot of people still aren't happy. You can't please everyone. I mean, I guess I'm happy, but even then, I get it. Like, just walking back or taking back what you intended, not exactly a sign of good storytelling. But then again, that's just an assumption. Was the mimic planned the whole time, or was it an apology?
This code manifested itself in game as Glitch Trap, a yellow bunny mascot with purple eyes who, over the course
Still
of the
the
game,
creepiest
brainwashed
character
multiple beta
in my
testers to become
opinion.
little William Aftons in training. All right, this
He's
is
just
getting
standing
a little
there,
far-fetched, right? But
waving,
it doesn't stop there. In the FNaF
smiling,
VR DLC Curse of
menacingly,
Dreadbear, you see this whole William AI Afton mind melding thing really take shape with Vanny, a reluctant follower of William Afton. We've not seen much of Vanny yet, but we know that she's someone who's played FNaF VR, was brainwashed by Afton, and is now working for him. Also, she wears a creepy bunny mascot costume just like Glitch Trap, and it's looking like Vanny is about to become a very important player in the FNaF story. Sometime in the near future, we're gonna be getting ourselves the newest FNaF game, Security Breach.
It's bigger, it's better, it's constantly getting delayed. It's Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I actually think it looks really good. And if the trailers and teasers are anything to go by, which they should be,
it's a shame what happened,
hunted down by a killer bunny mascot with a woman's voice. That's Vanny. And until we see what all Security Breach brings to the table, that is where the story of Five Nights at Freddy's
Things went so bad with this game.
It kind of feels like we just took a hard left turn right before the end there. All this talk of AI, brainwashing, and deadly VR games actually makes all the child murder and haunted animatronics actually look normal by comparison. But to me, this feels like we've reached the end of FNaF Season 1 and are entering FNaF Season 2.
At this point,
Pretty much.
FNaF is wrapping up the story we've all been decoding and piecing together since 2014, and using it as a springboard to set up all the new insane stories that we'll be trying to piece together until 2028. The main FNaF story, the story of the haunted pizzerias, missing kids, purple people in the Afton family, is largely over. A couple of pieces of it are wrapping up in the books at this point, but really, it's just done. This is officially the start of not even a new chapter, but a new saga of FNaF stories, which...
And yet that's another point of contention. Are the Aftons actually done with them? I mean, if you've seen ID's fantasy timeline, she thinks everyone is still around, that Henry Spire was all for nothing. And then there's me thinking that, okay, if they were intending on bringing back William, who else did they intend to bring back? What's the deal with Charlie Door? Is that referencing Charlotte, or is that just an asset name?
Like say,
Norman.
Super exciting, because like back in 2014, no one could have predicted that the creepy Chuck E. Cheese game would grow to become a massive multimedia franchise about a serial child murderer who can't die. So now that FNaF is settling in on a new path, oh man, it could go anywhere. Which means that I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck in it. I am stuck in this franchise until the heat death of the universe. Wish me luck.
Well,
funny you should mention that, considering you've taken a step back, MatPat, though.
Matt's gonna go and sulk in a corner for a little while, so let me just say thank you very much for watching this incredibly long video about the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Believe it or not, there are actually a ton more intricate details and mysteries that we couldn't even fit in this video. So if you want to go even deeper into the lore, definitely head over to Matt's channel and check out his amazing FNaF game theories. Or if you want to hear me talk more about FNaF without going into the lore, because oh my god, I got that for you too. Thank you for being patient with me while I put this behemoth of a video together, and I'll see you next time. DFTBA.
And, well, that ends that. Sorry for the lagging, but oh my god, I hope this video was watchable. So, yeah. end of an era. MatPat's no longer at the front, no longer front and center on the theory content. Now, look, again, I mentioned I had complicated feelings about his work. Look, his FNaF theories can go off the rails, especially the security breach era ones, but at the end of the day, I still liked having him around in the fandom, on the platform. So, even though his theories drive me insane, it drives a lot of people insane, I'm gonna miss him. Really. If you made it this far into the video, type "It's just a theory" in the comments. Well, that's all. Thanks for watching. Okay, sorry about that. Well, that's all. Bye.